Hey guys, it's Jack Punkington, and I know it's been quite a while since I've actually posted a video. Made a lot of videos. The camera is just not working. Luckily, I actually got a new phone. So this phone is actually a pretty decent camera, so I'll probably just end up having to use this until I can afford a new camera. So as you can see, there's new stuff here. Now I know I said I would post older videos. I actually lost. After I posted the first older video, I lost the rest. And so, just gonna have to roll with what I have. So, this is gonna be a little bit of a vlog video. Pretty much just kind of talking about some stuff that I wanted to been talking about, guitar and music related. First off, I got a PV Windsor again. 2 or 3 years ago, I had a PV Windsor head. And I saw this for sale. And it was $100. I got it for $170 shipped, and I was like, "Yeah, let's do this," because it's a completely different sound than the 6505. Don't get me wrong, I'd like it to be a little bit more gainier than what it is, but it's a good like if I want to do like a stoner metal band or maybe like a cool blues rock band or just a good rock band, that's a good amp for it. It needs a new speaker just because the PV Blue Marvel that's in it really adds to the mids, and it's already an amp with very heavy mid tone. It's actually very hard to dial in more treble unless you have a overdrive pedal added on, which is what I've had to do for most of the time, but I do like it. I do maybe plan on trying new things like a new speaker. Might make it into a head, but I doubt that. Maybe new tubes. Right now it's got a EL34. Might try a 6L6. That might give it a little bit more of a crisper tone. We'll see. Second thing that I want to talk about, and this is a big one, Gibson. I love Gibson guitars. I always have. But in the last few years, Gibson is just painting themselves as not a good company. Now, the funny thing is, whenever I discuss Gibson as a business and not as just the guitar, I went to business school for about 4 years, and whenever we had to write papers on businesses that are thriving and businesses that are failing, Gibson was my business that I would always use as a failing business, while Schecter, Dean, or Fender would all be businesses that I would use as a thriving business. And it actually makes me sad because I mean I grew up with Gibson. Like that's the first guitar I learned on was my grandpa's it's like a 1930s semi hollow body that's like this big, and when you're like 11 years old, you're like trying to play the whole guitar, and I love it. He still has it, and someday. Maybe I'll own it. If I do, I'd like to do some restoration on it. Not a whole lot. Needs new tuners because the ones it has are actually falling apart. And that's about it. Maybe just clean it up because the fretboard could use a good oil because it's really dry. Anyway, but like that was my first experience learning a guitar was on Gibson. And then later, music videos and stuff that bands and artists that I like, ironically, was Fender and Gibson. Fender because my first big band was Nirvana. I grew up as a huge Nirvana fan. And Kurt Cobain he used other guitars too, but he used a lot of Fender and Fender knockoff guitars. Stevie Ray Vaughan was a big inspiration. He used a lot of Fender guitars. But I also liked a lot of other bands, early Metallica. I loved Metallica, and lo and behold, Gibson. Then eventually they moved to LTD, I believe. But yeah, and a lot of just like old blues artists, I'd see them with a Gibson, Peter Green, and now they're failing as a company, and it's sad. They've been on the downslope, I'd say, ever since 2014. I'd say is when they started going down. 2015 is where they hit their first major stone that really pushed the engine down. 2017 did not help, and lo and behold, it's 2019. Now, I will say, the reason why I'm commenting on this is because of the recent lawsuit against Dino Guitar. Now, I'm a huge fan of Riff Beards and Gear. Go watch that channel. If you don't, I'm assuming most of my subscribers who watch this, which I don't have a lot, but the guys that do, and I really do appreciate you guys, may have heard or at least seen a video, or maybe subscribed to him. He recently posted out a video about the Gibson lawsuit, and I actually learned some facts about the Gibson lawsuit that I didn't know about. Well, first of all, it was actually not under the current CEO. It was under the previous CEO, but they just kind of had to steamroll with it. Granted, if I was in that position where I was the new CEO of a failing guitar company that has a lot of heritage, ironically, I would look at that and say, let's not go through with that lawsuit. If I can stop, now granted maybe he couldn't stop it, but it'd be like, if I can stop this, I'm going to stop this, because this company is in a situation where they shouldn't put out a lawsuit. And I'm a big fan of Glenn Flicker. Sorry about my tongue being twisted today, from Spectre Sound Studios, and he just posted this big video just going off against it, and I completely agree with him. I think what they're doing is just not okay. Ironically, I want to buy a Dino guitar. I went to Guitar Center just recently, and because I was kind of clearing stuff out, I sold the Gibson or the Gibson Firebird Zero that I modded. I sold my Washburn that I picked up, and the guitar rep said, "Why are you selling your Gibson?" I was like, because it's time to look at a new guitar company. I'm never going to get rid of George, which is my Gibson Les Paul Studio that I've had for 10 plus years. And I still have Bishop, my Gibson Sound X. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of them. The hard thing is, if I do try to get rid of them, it is a real Gibson. I'm actually covering the headstock because I don't know, I feel upset at Gibson. If I do try to get rid of them, the reputation for Gibson's actually made their prices go down really badly. No one wants to buy Gibson. So, but I don't know if I'll ever get rid of Bishop. I might, I may not. But the other thing I picked up. So I saw a video the other day, and it was just these awesome guitar, just maestros, I guess you'd say, just jamming. And they both were using some Super Strats, and I don't own a Super Strat. I was actually kind of thinking about getting a semi-hollow body, and then I watched that video, and I was like, man, I wouldn't mind picking up a Super Strat. My buddy Sean, who is actually the lead guitar player of a band that I will be auditioning for here pretty soon for the rhythm position, has always been a Super Strat fan. He uses Charvel, and my buddy Josh of Thing Guitars actually kept telling me, dude, you got to check out Charvel. And I finally got to play one of those guitars, and I was like, man, this thing is great. He uses Charvel, and then he uses, I think he has a Washburn as well. But anyway, so I was like, well, let's see about getting a Super Strat that I like. Now, for anyone on my channel that has watched some of my older videos, I used to have this Kramer, and I've owned three or four Kramers, but the last one I owned was my favorite Kramer that I've ever owned. It was, when I got it, red, white, black, and gray spray painted stripes. I spent hours hand sanding that body. It was a Kramer, not Pacer, Focus 3000, and it had the coolest Floyd Rose ever, because it was not routed into the body like most Floyds, just sat on it. Now, you could still technically make it floating, just not as extreme, which I liked, because I'm not super proficient with the Floyd, but I want to be. So I picked this up. This is a 1980 Japanese Fernandez. I've never owned a Fernandez guitar, nor have I ever really played one. One of my favorite bands, Hail Your Highness, their guitar player, she plays, ironically, a Gibson SG, but her other main guitar is a Fernandez guitar. It's this weird, X kind of shaped guitar, but ever since I saw that, I was like, I should check out Fernando's, and I never did. But this is an older Fernando's. It almost looks like it's a Fender lawsuit Fernando's, but I doubt that. Headset's a little different. Pretty crappy tuners. If I replace anything, it'll be the tuners. Locking nut, rosewood fretboard, 2 humbuckers, 3-way toggle, 1 volume, 1 tone, which actually I really like that, and old school Floyd. This thing is actually a really solid trim, and I actually, this is something that's really cool. The locking nuts are designed a little bit differently than other locking nuts on most guitars that you see, and I like that a lot. And it's a solid guitar. Maybe replace the pickups a little later down the road. I don't know, because I do like the way they sound. We'll see. But this guitar is cool. It's beat up. It's old. I mean, it's from the 80s. And it is my favorite color. This is probably my favorite feature of this guitar. That is the input jack. It is just hidden away, and I think that is so cool. Kind of reminds me of a Telecaster, but mixed with something else, and it's just recessed into the body. So you just go plug, and it is the most comfortable input jack I've ever owned on a guitar. I love it. And yeah, now, like I said, it's not without its quirks. The $110 shipping price tag was a quirk. I paid, I think, a total, because I bought this through a service on Reverb, where you actually can pay monthly on guitars, or whatever you buy, and that's what I did with this. I wanted to try it because my buddy Josh, Thing Guitars, recommended it. He's like, it's helped me get stuff, and it's super easy. There's no penalties. And I forget what it's called. It's like a Finium or something like that. But the guitar was $170. Shipping was $110, and then plus their interest fees, it was like $300 for this guitar. Which, yeah, you know, it's a little overpriced. But honestly, like, this is what I've been playing every day through the 6505. I love it. Speaking of amps, the other thing I forgot to mention, I picked this up. This is a Hot One or Hotone, I don't know which way it's actually pronounced, Heart Attack. I picked it up with the cabinet. It's actually, I didn't pick it up, it was a gift from my fiance Stephanie, because I wanted something to just plug in and play whenever. Not have to worry about warming up tubes. It's perfect for traveling. And it's not something that you're gonna like play live with, or maybe even jam with a band. It's just something to like, oh, I want to play guitar real for like a couple minutes and I don't have time to warm up my tubes. Just go bam, because it's solid state. Plug everything in and you're all set. And it's really cool. Now I do plan on doing reviews on both this, the Windsor, and the Fernando's at some point when I have time allotted. But I wanted to make this longer vlog video, just talking about, you know, things that have been going on. And if you can't tell already, it's super hot. It's summer. I'm not okay with this winter. I'm a winter person. I like the winter. So, but hey, it's okay. But anyway, I wanted to just give you guys kind of an update on what's going on. Jack Punkington signing out. Peace, guys.